Does God exist?
Guys on our podcast named Cliffe and Stuart Connectley. They are devout Christians who spread the word, the gospel. They were very convinced by the eyewitness testimony of Jesus, and that was I think, I don't want to like misquote them, but that they cited that as some of the strongest evidence they had to prove the existence of Jesus at one point in the Bible.
Neil deGrasse Tyson. Fascinating point on Thomas Jefferson. We actually are gifted that book by somebody every year. Dr. Tyson. Many people say Jesus was just a good religious teacher, a good philosopher. The reason that is impossible is the extreme nature of his claim.
This is really awesome. Logan Paul has on Neil deGrasse Tyson on his show, and he brings up Cliffe and Stuart Connectley, and they talk about God, and it's absolutely amazing. I'm gonna react to this clip and then pull up a clip from Stuart responding to this video, guys. This is super fascinating stuff. Does God exist and the differences between them both? So let's get into it.
In the world.
Other people, when they look for hope and inspiration, they look to a book called the Bible. Does God exist?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Oh, you mean does that God exist? Because
Yeah, I guess so.
Because if
Or
you
does
just
any
type God into, look at the wiki page on God, and there's thousands of gods listed there.
Does any God exist?
I based on what people say about what that God is supposed to do and its influence in the world, based on that, I remain unconvinced that anybody is in charge of anything in this world.
You're agnostic.
Yes.
You refuse to believe or disbelieve. You
It's
don't
not
have evidence.
Refuse is too harsh.
Yep.
I would welcome better evidence than what has been presented in defense of the existence of somebody who's in charge.
We had two.
So he's about to share about Cliffe and Stuart Connectley. That's awesome. But like, why is there not amazing evidence? Like, what about the fine-tuning argument? What about the historicity of Jesus Christ? Like, man, there's so many things that point to there being intelligent design.
Guys on our podcast named Cliffe and Stuart Connectley. They are devout Christians who spread the word, the gospel, and they were very convinced by the eyewitness testimony of Jesus, and that was I think, I don't want to like misquote them, but that they cited that as some of the strongest evidence they had to prove the existence of Jesus at one point in the Bible. And you're saying that you're saying
God,
eyewitness,
not Jesus.
Yeah.
So,
well, Jesus is God to some people. Jesus
no. But the existence of God and the existence of Jesus.
Let's stick with God
are separable variables.
Okay,
here.
so maybe that's do you think Jesus existed?
Because Thomas Jefferson, okay, one of our founding fathers, published a book called "The Morals of Jesus of Nazareth." Okay, and you know what's in that book? He took the New Testament, physically cut out with scissors, every reference to a miracle, anything mythical, magical, conversations with God, and he left in the wisdom of Jesus. And so to Jefferson, Jesus was a wise person who had a lot of good things to say, but the religious dimensions of him was denied in that compilation.
That's not what the historicity says about Jesus. The claims from Jesus was that he is the way, the truth, and the life. No one can go to the Father except through me. He is the great I am. And just because someone physically cuts out pieces of paper in the Bible does not prove that he's not God or the historicity of who God is. Thomas Jefferson's nowhere close to being during the time of Jesus. All right, let's let him cook.
Violation of his book. That's why I didn't call him Jesus Christ, which means Jesus the Anointed One, Jesus of Nazareth. So one can embrace the existence of Jesus. By the way, there's some people who doubt it, but I don't have the energy to go that way. I don't have if he's fine, he exists fine. He's a person, right? Yeah. So what I'm saying is his existence or not is a very different issue from whether you want to say somebody created the universe and is in charge of things.
Can biblical explanations of the universe and scientific explanations of the universe both be true?
The history of that exercise really has not boded well for the Bible.
Okay.
It's if you go to the Bible and deduce something about how the universe must be based on the Bible, and then make a prediction about the world, not a post-diction, a prediction, because that's how science works at its best. Anytime anyone has done that, it has shown to be false.
I don't know if it's shown to be false, but we've already gone over this. Is we don't think that the Bible is supposed to be a scientific book with math equations. It's an explanation on how we got here and why we were created and the purpose of life and living 100%. But how exactly did all of that come about scientifically is not in the Bible.
So the record is not there. Enlightened religious people today don't use the Bible as a science textbook. They use it as a source of inspiration and a source of moral compass, even though there's a lot of sort of stuff in there you wouldn't do today because sensibility, like if your kids disrespect you, you will not stone them. Okay, that's in the Bible. The things you just,
He's just pointing out random stuff from the Old Testament. And that's obviously not just in the Old Testament how you're supposed to live your life. That is from the Levitical laws that were given to the people in the wilderness. It was not meant for everyone else how they should live their life. That's why it's so important to read the Bible in context.
Did that really?
Read the Bible. Why are you asking me about God? You haven't read the Bible.
It's not my name on the show, man. Listen.
Now it's
That was good.
Going back quickly to
and Joan of Arc?
Yes,
okay?
of course. Yeah.
Burned at the stake.
Yep.
All right.
Tough.
They try to okay.
But things were very different in those times. I want to ask you this quickly.
I got to say this quickly.
Yep.
Do you know, if you read the transcripts because the Catholic Church keeps very good records, if you read the transcripts, do you know like a third of why they built the case against her? It was for cross-dressing.
What?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So why? Because in the Bible, in Leviticus, there's the line. If a man dons the clothes of a woman or a woman don the clothes of a man, it is an abomination unto the Lord thy God.
Wow.
Yeah, it says right here, Deuteronomy 22:5 says, a woman not wear a man's garment, nor shall a man put on a woman's garment. For whoever does such things is an abomination to the Lord your God. The Bible also talks about a lot of things that we shouldn't do, like have any markings within your body, like tattoos. The Bible also talks about that we can't eat pork or shellfish or any of those things. But that's, if you read it in context, that's not given to all people. It's not. The church, yes, has done things in the past that is, I would say, not the correct way to cast judgment or punishment over someone. Because did Jesus say to do those things? No. Jesus did not. Did he affirm those things? No, he did not either. We want all people to come to know Jesus and love him and to have a relationship with him. Let's continue.
And they said, let's use that because she's not dressing in a skirt. She's not leading soldiers into battle side saddle, okay? And so she's like the first, there she is. And so
Dude, I've been
it's
dressing
the Bible. You what?
I've been dressing up like a woman. I've been dressing up like a woman since I was like 10.
It's an abomination to the. So what I'm saying is,
Neil, let's keep the
have to
cross-dressers out of this for a second, all right?
Cherry pick the Bible to say that it is your moral compass.
Who pushed the button for the Big Bang?
That's not true, though. You don't just cherry pick the Bible for your moral compass. You read the Bible in context to know what the moral compass is. It's such a big difference with what exactly are you talking about? Is the Bible, not everything is prescriptive. Some things are descriptive.
Held belief in science community,
We
the
don't
Big
know.
Bang.
It's a frontier of science.
But
I think I know, Neil. I think I know.
Who?
I don't think I know who. I think I know how.
Oh.
All right. I think the universe will collapse on itself and at one point make another one. And I
So
think
it's a
I think
forever-
it's happening more than once
you think
outside of our
it's a
universe.
forever thing?
I
Who
think it's a
started
forever
the
thing.
cycle?
We don't know. It's a
I'm
frontier.
asking you theoretically.
So the latest best guesses, that's really all they are, extending quantum physics into that realm. And quantum physics has been really, really, really successful as a theory of the universe. It tells us that our universe is likely just one of many in what we call the multiverse. Like an infinite number of these just getting cranked out, each with slightly different laws of physics. The laws of physics that would enable life as we know it are in this universe. That's why we are here speaking together.
Are we?
It's it's why it's possible at all. We are not having this.
Neil deGrasse Tyson is hilarious. I just love how he laughs at everything. It's funny, but man, the fine-tuning argument is amazing. The fact that there's actually life here on this earth.
Podcast in another universe where the laws of physics didn't allow matter to form. So, but that pushes the question back: what started the multiverse? And we don't know. It's a frontier.
God.
Learn to love the questions themselves.
What's
If
outside
you
of
must have an answer every place you go,
I don't need.
you're not very useful in the
I'm
lab.
asking it as a question, but does it not at least
Time, how we got
lead
here?
you to believe?
Yeah, we gotta get you out of
I got 5 more minutes.
Last question.
I got 5 more minutes. Let's
Last
go.
part of it. Does it not at least lead you to believe, based on what you know, once again, about your own backyard, that something, someone, or some entity has to be responsible for the ignition of said sequence?
I will never say anything has to be anything. I will just simply say we don't know.
Got it.
I
At least you're agnostic and not atheist.
no, I'm not.
I'm a Christian man, Neil, and so I
Okay, so-
but I also
So my
respect
agnosticism.
science.
Let me be more precise
Sure.
there. In a day, one might have accurately called me an atheist.
Yep.
However, the most visible atheists today are defining the emergent understanding of the word for people who are experiencing or seeing atheism for the first time. And the dictionary doesn't define the language, contrary to how we typically think about it. It describes words as they have come to be used.
I love how everyone is distancing themselves from being an atheist. No one wants to be seen as that anymore because it's so closed-minded.
So atheists today, I'll give an example. I had a Facebook post. A friend of mine went up on the shuttle to fix the Hubble telescope, to service the Hubble telescope.
That's cool.
And so I said, my friend is up there, Godspeed, space shuttle, I forgot the number, STS-117, whatever was the number. And I had people responding, Godspeed, I thought you were an atheist. So if you
Right.
think I'm an atheist and I use that word and it defies your understanding of me, I must not therefore be an atheist. Okay? This continued. And when I finally confronted this group, because I got a humanist award in front of a room full of atheists, and I said, I posted this, and everybody said, I thought you were an atheist. I said, by the way, has anyone in this room used the word goodbye? And they said, yeah, we all have. That is a contraction of God be with you, which is what you used to tell people when they left the city walls because you needed protection between cities, because that's where highway robbers were. Okay? So Godspeed is traceable to John Glenn. When he went up in space, the risk factor there is how fast you're going. He's going 5 miles per second.
That's
so
crazy.
Godspeed. It's a space age version of God.
5 miles per second is so fast. Wow, that's insane.
God be with you, which itself became goodbye. I have no hesitation using that word as out of respect for the history of the space program and just for what it means in your sentiment and your emotions shared upon others who are about to enter a dangerous situation. And not only that, I'm a big fan of BC and AD. Okay? Atheists will use BCE and CE. You know about this? Yep. Yeah. I'm not going to use those. It's common era and before. I'm not going to use it. Why? Because AD and BC, Anno Domini, it's Latin for the year of our Lord. BC is before Christ. Okay? So, because one is English, one is Latin. That's a little weird. But anyhow, there we are. The calendar we use, the Gregorian calendar, was established by the Catholic Church under Pope Gregory in the year 1582. 1582. He saw a problem with the calendar, with the Julian calendar, because spring was shifting in March and Easter was going to land on Passover. Can't have that because you got to distinguish Christianity from Judaism. So he got together his smartest people, the Jesuits, before the telescope was invented. And they figured out what the problem was with the calendar and they fixed it. They had to take 10 days out of the calendar, reset when Easter would be, and that is the calendar we still use today.
That's crazy.
I tip my hat to the brilliance of how they figured out Earth's movement around the sun at a time when we still thought the sun went around the Earth. Holy! So I give credit where credit is due. I'm using AD and BC.
Hey, you said holy shit.
Oh, should I say that if I'm an atheist? All right. Plus, my favorite Broadway musical of all time is Jesus.
Whatever. But that is true. So many people think that if you believe in God, you're not ever going to find any discoveries because you think that everything is just supernatural and you can't actually find anything worthwhile because everything is just God. But no, when you believe in a God, you believe that there's a lawgiver and therefore everything you can figure out how things work and understand and have more knowledge on how the world and the universe works because of who made it. And that's what happened. Science literally was catapulted by Christians, people who believed in God. So that's amazing. So now I want to play Stuart. He responds to this. It's good stuff. I love that Logan Paul commented on this.
Logan, appreciate the shout out and being on your show was a blast. Neil deGrasse Tyson, fascinating point on Thomas Jefferson. We actually are gifted that book by somebody every year. It is not quite honest to who Christ was. He obviously claimed, and others outside of the Bible, like Josephus, claimed that he was a miracle worker. So I don't think we can just be comfortable with whether he did or didn't do miracles and say, hey, let's just make up our own Bible based off of our comfort level and what really suits us. No, we got to go back to the original eyewitness testimony and the original historical documents. That's why we believe Jesus was an actual miracle worker and did claim to be God.
Logan, thank you so much for that fascinating conversation and dialogue you had with Dr. Tyson. Many people say Jesus was just a good religious teacher, a good philosopher. The reason that is impossible is the extreme nature of his claims. The eyewitness record is Jesus claimed to be God. When he claims to be God, he's probably on the intellectual level of a poached egg, if he's not really God. He's not a great teacher. He's a blasphemer. He's an egomaniac who, being a mere man, claimed to actually be God in human form. That's not a good teacher. That's a guy who's totally out of touch with reality. Or else, Jesus is who he claimed to be. Not a good teacher. He claimed to be God in human form, who did teach good morals and good ethics, but he claimed clearly to be God in human form. So this middle ground option, Jesus a nice teacher, Jesus, I respect him as a good ethicist, it's not an option. Yes, obviously the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew chapters 5, 6, and 7, are the product of an ethical genius. So yes, Jesus was an ethical genius. But then this ethical genius went on to claim to be the eternal pre-existent God in human form. He's either on the intellectual level of a poached egg due to the extreme nature of that claim, or else he is who he claimed to be, God in human form. But the middle ground, Jesus the nice teacher, Jesus the good ethicist, is not an option.
We had two guys on our podcast.
That was awesome. Hopefully one day I'll be able to do a podcast with them. That would be so cool. But what a amazing opportunity that Cliffe and Stuart had to do. They're still making a difference in Logan Paul's life. In that video, that podcast that they did is probably a year and a half ago or something like that. But it's true. You can't go back to Thomas Jefferson and be like, that's the Jesus we want to believe in. You go back to the historicity, the manuscripts of who people said Jesus was. And Jesus claimed to be God. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I encourage you all to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't. And comment down below your thoughts on this, whatever that might be. I'd love to know. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Love and appreciate you all. Have an amazing day and God bless.